In its 11th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, live from Harlem in New York City. This is the Ramble. Guess who I've got here? I've got Larry Bubbles Brown. Hello, Larry.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, boy. You're terrific. How are you?
Good. I was just thinking you and I were both in the same union for a while.
Oh, really? We were both in AFTRA?
We were both in AFTRA, and then I was like, we were in the. I just found out the Major League Baseball player union must be the strongest union in the world.
Really?
Oh my God! Let's see, the minimum salary in baseball now is $760,000.
Well,
the average salary is $4.5 million.
Oh boy! Well, that's a good union.
It's a good union, and if you get called up in the major leagues for one game and then you're out and you never come back again, you get health care for life.
Really? It's almost like being in Congress. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's the way things should be. In fact, we should all get health care for life. You shouldn't have to pay anything for it. You know, we here's the thing, Larry. We don't get political, you and I, very often on this. But this isn't politics. This is just, the bottom line of having to take care of yourself. If you don't have health insurance, you got a problem. Do you have health insurance?
Well, I'm on Medicare now, but I carried it. Yeah, I've had Kaiser before that.
Okay, good. So you were,
I was afraid to go without it because you could get bankrupted.
No question, no crap. Okay, of course it could get bankrupted, but there are people in this country who just don't have insurance because they can't afford it. Now, I've always had it because anywhere I've gone to work at radio stations, they just had a health insurance policy for me. I mean, but I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to, do that. In fact, health insurance was a benefit they offered you as an enticement to go to work for them. So people would go to a place to go to work, and they would say, "What are the benefits?" I think we need to take care of everybody in this country, and we don't. We really don't. This guy Mangione, he was in court yesterday, and they said that they couldn't try him on charges of conspiracy or something like that, and he threw out one of the charges, and people outside the courthouse cheered.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is like a hero. You go, well, I don't like what he did, but if he was going to do it to anybody, I guess it should be this guy. It was wrong, obviously. I mean, I got to say that. In fact, everybody says that to save their ass. I can't say that I was really sad, because a guy like this runs probably the biggest medical insurance company in the country, United, and he's responsible for people not getting paid off and not getting their insurance and so on, and making it tougher and raising the prices.
I've heard cases now where people are they're going in while they start their surgery, and suddenly they get a note, the company's not going to cover this.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, you buy insurance, it's almost like gambling because you're making a bet you're going to get sick, and they're making a bet you won't. And when they lose the bet, they don't want to pay off.
No.
Now, if that happened in Vegas, if that happened among bookies, you'd be dead by now. You know. But I mean, it's a gambling deal you're making, and you're making a bet you're not going to get sick, and they're making a bet you're making a bet you will get sick, and they're making a bet you won't. And now, as I'm older, our insurance just went up again. We have Medicare, but then we also have a supplemental, and we get a supplemental that takes care of everything. All right, we started out, it was like $325. I think it's now up to $400 a month. I mean, what is that? You know, I would love somebody at the one of these medical insurance companies to say, "Guess what? We're lowering the prices." Never happened. They keep raising the prices and raising the prices, and even people who would use that the most, okay, are seniors. I don't think they've got a single person getting, Medicare supplemental who isn't a senior. And so it's nothing but seniors, and they're paying the bulk of this money. It's terrible. It's really terrible. So you know,
like when we were kids, I don't recall insurance ever being like health insurance was not a big problem, and then it became this nightmare in the last 30 or 40 years.
Well, I never even thought about it. When you're younger, you don't
think about it.
When you're younger, you don't think about it. Unless you've been terribly sick as a child, it doesn't even occur to you. It doesn't occur to you till your mid-30s, and then you get a few things. You got to go to a doctor, and you have to pay him. But in the old days, when I used to go to a doctor and I had to pay him, it was maybe $15. A visit. I mean, it was a different world then. Now you've got an incredibly profit-making business, and they want to make as much of a profit as possible. So, so much for your hernia operation. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a supplemental plan as well? With your
Kaiser is called an Advantage plan, so we're not even allowed to buy supplementals, but it's just
oh boy, the Advantage plan.
It's covered, like it only cost me like $70 a month for the Kaiser.
Yeah, but supplemental is not as good as what we've got, for instance, because what happens with supplemental. Here's what happens: you have Medicare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you really don't have Medicare. Because you're with Kaiser, and they say you got to take their Advantage program. When they go Advantage, they take over your Medicare from Medicare, and Medicare pays them a certain amount every month to take you on. Did you know that?
I knew it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know if you can go back at some point, and when you don't want Kaiser or whatever, and just say, I want regular Medicare, and then I'm going to go out and get something. But it costs us, let's see, between Marjorie and I, it costs us $800 a month, $8,000. It costs about $10,000 a year for supplemental insurance.
Jesus.
Now, granted, the wonderful thing about supplemental is I never even go to the doctor's at the person when I'm checking out and, write a check or give them a credit card, because I don't owe anything. It'll all be taken care of. And that's a nice feeling. And at my age, who knows how much that will amount to. I mean, I had a prostate thing. That thing costs about $110,000, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I didn't pay a penny. And that once it comes to the insurance company paying off, the hospitals kind of deal with them and lower the price, okay? And then I had, I have the leukemia thing, but that's just visits to a doctor every 6 months. But, at one point with my prostate, they had to put out some money, and I was happy about that. But, you know, if I say how much is it and how much is it compared, I mean, they only had to pay, God, maybe a couple of $1,000. But, you know, look how much I'm paying every year for the insurance. So, anyway, it's a screwed up world. And the trouble with comedians is you guys don't have a union. You don't have an insurance policy. You don't have a pension fund. Anything like that, and that's why comedians should be unionized. You know,
They tried that like in the '80s.
Yeah.
On the East Coast, they had the Professional Comics Association, and that I think they had health insurance and things like that. And it's some good things, but it didn't last. And
why didn't it last?
It'd be a good idea.
You remember why it didn't last?
Probably because comics are so independent, they don't want to join anything.
Well, you know, it's fine to not want to be independent, but you know, there are certain things that, like health insurance. The reason you have an organization like that is so you can get health insurance. You know, you have to have a group in order for the insurance companies to say, "Okay, we'll do it for you." You know, but it's just terrible. I mean, and especially comics. I mean, how many? In my profession of radio, I heard that only something like 2% of all people who are in my union actually are doing meaningful work. Okay? Well, that's a very bad number, and something should be done about it. But they screwed us out of our medical insurance. You know,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and you know, it was terrible. And there are people in my business who, hey, they work a job here and there, and they you know, they're trying to be in the business. There's no reason why they don't want to be, but it's a competition, and they apparently don't do well in the competition. I mean, I was very lucky. I made some really good money, but I didn't get insurance for it. There was no, I had to, because when I worked at Live 105, they weren't a union station. They weren't a scab station either. At one point, they took a vote and it didn't pass, and so the union didn't get in. Okay, right. And that's legitimate. But I don't remember Live 105 having medical insurance. Do you?
No.
No, I don't remember them having a medical insurance plan. So
I don't think they did. No.
You know, so but that's the case with a lot of people in the radio business, and you know, they don't even make a great wage. Laurie Thompson, this is a great story. Laurie Thompson was working for Clear Channel in San Francisco. I was working there for a small time. But she was working there, and she would go in, this was her job, and she would voice track shows. Voice tracking is when you just do all the talking between the records. And then they record it, and they put it into a computer, and then the computer plays that, and it plays the music, and it plays that, and then it plays the music. Get what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she would go in every week and do 6 hours worth of programming. Okay. How much do you think she got for doing that?
No idea.
They paid her at a rate of something like $20 an hour and told her that she couldn't take more than an hour and a half to do it all.
God, really?
So she supplied 6 hours of programming to this radio station, and all she made out of it was something like $35.
That's horrible.
And that's what the business is today.
Jesus.
You know, it's incredible.
That's why you need unions. I was reading a book about Jack Ruby when he had those club in Dallas, and all the performers there, they had like ventriloquists, and they had a little union.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget what they're called, but they were unionized.
Okay, good. You see, that's what you want to do. You want to have a union, and then you're able to go to insurance companies and say, we want your insurance. And you'll probably get it because now you're a union, you're a group, you're a bunch of people.
Hmm.
And they love that. And that's all you have to do with comedians. All they have to do is join the union. The union doesn't have to do crap. They just can go out and get some medical insurance for people and do stuff like that. So, but I always felt sorry for you guys because, I mean, come on.
Yeah, and when we did a TV shot, you had to make, I think you had to make like 10,000 a year to qualify for the after insurance. So you'd never make enough money off one or two shots a year to qualify for that. So
right. But you had to join the union if you did more than 3 shots.
but you had to join the union and pay the dues. Yeah.
Yeah, if you did more than 3 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to join the union, and as you say, you and I were both members of the same union.
Yeah, we were paying dues and
I still am, actually.
getting no benefits.
I'm still a member of the union. I became a senior member, and so I don't have to pay dues. Okay. So every 6 months I get a new union card, But I've never quit the union. All the years that I've been working in radio, I never quit the union because I believe in the union. The union, however, now does not believe in me, but that's another story altogether. But I believe my father's a big union guy. In fact, in his later years, he worked as a guy who would go out to clubs and negotiate stuff and so on for the musicians' union. I forget what the title was. It was some kind of title like, I don't know. But anyway, he would go out, and for instance, in San Francisco, because he was the newest guy in the union, he wasn't the newest guy in the union, but he was the newest guy to be working in this capacity. They gave him what they considered the shit. I can't even talk today. The shit assignment, which was all those dance clubs and so on, like the Matrix and the Fillmore and so on, where they had all these people playing there, And he was in charge of a couple of those clubs. And he fell in love with just the young musicians. And there was a musician by the name of Steve Miller. And he wanted to join the union because he wanted to be able to play anywhere he wanted to play. But the union had a requirement at that time that you could not join the union unless you could read music. Now, the reason for that is, it's obvious that a union wants to guarantee to the employer that the person that they're hiring is capable. So they consider part of being capable of being able to read music. So you could sit down, in an orchestra pit with your violin, look at the music and start playing it. Well, Steve Miller couldn't read music. And he wanted to join the union. And they said, no, you can't join because you can't read music. My father heard about this. And he was familiar with Steve Miller. And he went before the union and he said, listen, I want you to listen to this kid play his guitar. And after he's through, I want you to tell me he shouldn't join the union. Simply because he can't read music. And he doesn't need to read music in the kind of job he has. He has a band and they play at these clubs. So Steve Miller sat down and played for them. And he was, a phenomenal guitarist. And after he was through, the union said, okay, we'll make him a member. And he was the first member of the union in San Francisco, at least that we know of, who was able to join and not be able to read music. And when my father died, Steve Miller sent a letter to my mother and said, I would be nothing without your husband.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
It was very cool. It was the job he had at the end of his life, and it made him so happy because he liked all these young kids who were doing music. And, so it was a whole different... but that changed it. From there on in, you didn't have to read music in order to join the union. And So, it opened up the union to a lot of young musicians. But when I thought about comics, because I love comics. I love the work they do. I was a fan, okay, and I turned that fandom into a show. But I always cared about you guys, and I always worried about things like health insurance. You should be able to get it. And the fact that you can't, is disgusting. So, anyway, that's my rant. Yeah.
Well, when did AFRA start?
I have
Were the radio performers unionized like in the 30s?
This goes back. Yeah, this goes back to the 30s, maybe earlier. It was called AFRA at that time because AFTRA, the T is television. There was no television back then, so it was AFRA.
Really?
Yeah, but it's been around since I would say at least the 30s. It certainly was around when I first joined it. And I'm trying to remember when I first joined it. I was so proud when I finally, it was at a station where I had to join it because they were a union station. And I felt so great about being able to join the union because it meant to me that, hey, I'm a professional now,
Yeah.
And it made me feel so good and so fulfilled. But the union has turned into a piece of crap, I mean, under Fran Drescher, we lost our seniors lost all their medical insurance. We had a plan where I paid $2,000 a year for Marjorie and I to be insured, and we got like about, I don't know, most of our costs taken care of. It wasn't 100%, but it was close. And we had a medical plan where you got $2,500 worth of medical work a year. And I mean, it was things like that. It was a great plan. And they just dumped us, We don't care. You're just old folks.
Yeah, I remember a bunch of people were complaining. That was a couple of years ago. They just ended it suddenly, right?
Yeah, well, it's easy for people like Fran Drescher and some of those higher-ups in the union to say, well, let's get rid of this. It's costing us money. Because they're performers who are making money. Fran Drescher, if nothing more, she was living off residuals from The Nanny. And it was, it's just the younger people are in the union who go, and the ones who are working who go, oh, we don't need this because they don't really need it. If they didn't have health insurance through the union, they get it somewhere else. But they're making, tens of thousands of dollars a week doing a TV show. But what the union needs to do is cover its members who don't make more than about $10,000 a year, But they are members of the union, and they do have the same profession we do, and we should give them help, So anyway, that's the way it was. So we had the nanny as our president.
The nanny screwed us.
Yeah, and now our new president is, I think, a Hobbit, if I'm not mistaken. Sean Astin. So he's a member. I'm glad he won because he was a pretty decent guy. But I hope somebody who runs and wins and becomes president of the union tries to restore covering older members of their union. I mean, there was Olivia de Havilland died at 104, okay? And my joke when she died was, and she didn't have health insurance. Yeah. Because that's exactly what happened, So it was horrible what they did, and I was never a big fan of my union because they just the higher ups are too busy playing games and not caring about the very thing that they're there for, which is to take care of their members. And I remember once they were going to raise our union rates, by our dues every year, by a certain amount of money. And I went to their big meeting, and we were all handed this after a magazine at the time. And it was this big glossy magazine that had a bunch of pictures of people in the union shaking hands with other people in the union. Okay? And so I got up at the thing. I said, I was looking at the budget for the union, and I noticed that making this magazine costs it costs us something like $30,000 a year. I said, why don't we do away with the magazine? All it is a bunch of people shaking hands with each other. They said, sit down. They didn't want to hear it. But that was the most logical answer. And then you wouldn't have to raise dues on your members. We don't care about that magazine. It goes in the garbage when we get it. You know. Hey, listen, it looks like we ran out of time here.
We have.
You want to do another one next week?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown. Yay!
Now, in its 11th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, yes, thank you very much. That was, what's wrong? Something's weird with my sound here. I don't get it. Okay, there we go. Is that better? I don't know. Am I getting two things at the same time? I don't think so. Anyway, hello everybody. How are you? I'm doing a show tonight. I'm not completely 100% well, but I felt I had things to say and I wanted to say them and get them out of the way tonight. You know, so as I say, I'm not feeling that well. What happened was, I went and I got myself a COVID shot. Why? Well, to begin with, I'm going on a vacation, and I am going to be on a ship. And a ship is basically an infection point for COVID, right? So I just wanted to make sure I was protected against COVID. So I go down to the corner to the CVS, and I get myself my COVID shot and my flu shot. 24 hours later, I've got a temperature, okay? And I don't know how I got the temperature. And it was like, as you may remember here that night, up over 100. So I didn't know what that was about. And I'd had a temperature a couple of weeks earlier, but it wasn't caused by that. I don't know what was causing that one, but it was gone. But this one just was really pesky. So what I did is I took aspirin. I took like 3 aspirin. And the temperature immediately plummets. I don't know if you've ever done that, and you sweat like crazy, okay? And sweating like crazy is really good because you really feel much better afterwards. But then I stopped, I finally, I took those aspirin and that was it. Well, all of a sudden I'm noticing my temperature is rising again. So I really gave up on the whole deal. I went, what is this? So I took some more aspirin, and it seems to have stayed away so far. We'll see. But I think what it was either the combination of the flu shot and the COVID-19 shot, or just the COVID-19 shot itself, which can cause a fever, can cause that kind of thing. And I was even getting a cough today, which, I don't normally get a cough. So that was that. But that's why I was out for 2 nights. And I probably would have kept myself out tonight, except out of my loyalty to this program. God knows. The show must go on. Actually, I found out a few years ago the show doesn't really have to go on, But anyway, so I just I just felt I could kind of what can I call it? Power my way through doing it. Okay, so and then I can go to bed early anyway because Amy Manuel isn't here to do a show tonight, so we're good with that one. So anyway, that's my whole story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me see here. Let's start admitting these people. Let's see here. Are these all people I know? Yep. And we will go to our Zoom, and we'll watch them as they pop in. There we go. There's Alan, and there is Josh. Hello, Josh. And hello to Charlie Wallace, who's connecting his audio. And Kevin, hello to you as well. You know.
Good evening.
Yeah.
No audio.
No audio coming out of that mic?
No, you can't hear me, can you?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you. We
can hear you.
but it's like
No,
it's like you're in the other room.
Yeah, let me fix that.
Yeah.
Sounds all right.
And here comes Mark Thorner. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Boy, but listening to you and Larry, yeah, I can.
What were we talking about? I was in the other room while it was being played. I can't remember. I did that earlier this
We're
week.
talking about insurance and unions.
Oh, yeah. Forget my union. They're losers, you know. It's the one thing a union should give you is insurance, right? What else are they good for?
The minute insurance became a profit center is where it all went to hell. So that's
Absolutely right.
That's what we live with now.
Yep. Well, let me, we have quite a few things to talk about because a lot of things have happened this week that need talking about. Let's get to the story of Charlie Kirk in just a little bit, okay? Because I want to deal with that. We were dealt a little bit with it last week, but it was still too fresh to really hop on.
Yeah.
But the biggest downside of Charlie Kirk was the ceasing of the Jimmy Kimmel show over at ABC.
That was bullshit.
Bullshit. It's bullshit on steroids. What are you talking about? You know, it was so terrible that, quite frankly, I think there should be an investigation of the Federal Communications Commission. What does it do? We don't have enough people in Congress. We don't have enough people in the Senate to do anything about it. But this guy, Brendan Carr, should be thrown out on his ass. Because he doesn't even understand what the FCC is there for. I was watching an interview just now with David Letterman. He mentioned when he started out in the business, and it's the same as when I started out in the business, all the FCC really did was check on the engineering of a radio or television station to make sure they're working at the power they say they were working at, not above it, not below it. And, you know, occasionally somebody would write to the FCC and say, I heard Alex Bennett say a 4-letter word. And then they would write us a letter, and then my station would say, well, you know, it was an accident and it'll never happen again, blah, blah, blah. And then that was it. And the FCC didn't even want to have to do anything about that. All they cared about was whether the television stations were running at the proper power they were supposed to be running at. And that's all the FCC was created for. And it operates in what they call the public radio stations and televisions operate in the public interest, convenience, and necessity, I think is the terms that were once given. But that's all the FCC does. The FCC has very little other powers. They can't censor thought, no matter how egregious that thought may be. You know, I mean, I got to tell you, Charlie Kirk, if there was ever a case of somebody who was using hate speech as a class project, you know, it was Charlie Kirk. That's all he did. And he did it to raise money, and he did it to, you know, get attention, and did it for the reasons that all podcasters do what they do, so they can get people to watch them, and they can make money off of that. So to say that Charlie Kirk didn't involve himself in hate speech, and by the way, they want to make hate speech illegal, well, they should have started with Charlie Kirk. I mean, you know, that was hate speech in the worst possible way.
Start with Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, Donald. We need talk about Donald Trump. That goes without saying. But to begin with, I idolized this Charlie Kirk, and really, he was a no good Nick.
Nope.
He was a terrible person.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus, yeah, in the name of Jesus. He was terrible. And he was a guy who preyed his philosophy upon youth who were naive, to say the least. Didn't have the ability yet to distinguish good from bad, and
he was going after young people.
Yeah, he was going after young minds, young impressionable minds, okay, and taking advantage of them for his own profit. You can remember, this guy died with $12 million in the bank, okay? Any of you have $12 million in the what bank? Case closed, So, I mean, I'm sorry, I could not have, I don't understand why people are being fired because they wrote something online against Charlie Kirk, and then the company they work for has decided to fire them.
It's called fascism.
It's called fascism. That I don't know if pure fascism is purest form, but it certainly is the kind of thing you expect in a dictatorship.
Yep.
Okay, and the president, flying the flag at half-mast, that was total bullshit.
Yep.
That was jingoistic. And so here comes Jimmy Kimmel, who is kind of a voice of reason. He's not really a voice of just going crazy with his thinking and so on and so forth. He came out with a statement. He said, first of all, he mentioned that, Donald Trump's people were, calling people who, what was the thing that he was talking about? He was talking about Trump and the fact that Trump, that among other things, he showed it. He said Trump was asked a question by a news person, and the news person said, "How do you feel about the death of Charlie? What's his name?"
He said you were a close friend of his. How are you feeling today?
About Charlie.
Yeah, how are you holding up?
How are you
He
holding
said just
up?
fine, but did you see the ballroom going in? All the trucks coming in.
Yeah, and
It's what nothing to do with it.
All that Kimmel said was, boy, he really is grieving. That's what is that? The third.
That's the fourth state of
fourth
grieving.
state of grief.
Yeah.
Construction. Construction. Yeah.
It's like a 4-year-old grieving a goldfish.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, to begin with, I don't see how that was even anything. He wasn't saying anything bad about Charlie Kirk.
In fact, he didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk himself. He was talking about President Trump and the MAGA folks.
And the kid that did it
and
is what he talked about.
And saying that rather than going after the kid who did, they're trying to distance themselves from that kid, and blame it on Democrats. And he said, that's ridiculous. This is using the death of Charlie Kirk for other reasons. And that was terrible? How was that terrible? That was entirely truthful.
Exactly. He never said one false word in that whole monologue, but they kicked him off the air.
Or anything that would make you think there was a false word in there. That he had anything else but sympathy for Charlie Kirk, and sadness for his followers or whatever. There wasn't anything like that challenged in what he said. So did you hear him at all, Mark?
Yeah, but there's something else also. There was a pending business deal.
Well, now we go into that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That might have impeded it. So it's like, oh my God, it's a grab for more stations.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
It's a grab for somebody to get even more rich. It's for somebody else to get more rich. It's the same thing that happened at CBS.
Exactly.
And
So the president of Disney wants to bring him back. Iger, I think is his name.
Where did you hear that?
It was in the news, the business news a couple days ago.
Oh, that's good because we didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah.
But I do know that a lot of people canceled their subscriptions to Disney.
Yes, and that's
They
why
lost a ton
they're
of people.
losing money. They're losing money, and he wants to get people back.
Well,
A lot of
I didn't
people
hear
are not-
that at all. I heard that Iger was still weighing the options because he was worried about not being able to have ESPN merge with the NFL network.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't hear that, but
Yeah, well,
I-
pay attention.
Iger wants to bring him back, but Jimmy Kimmel may not come back.
No, but Iger doesn't necessarily want him back.
Okay.
Now, this is all Trump threatening Disney because he didn't like what Jimmy Kimmel said about it. He got his feelings hurt.
Here's the thing. Here, somebody mentioned, and I can't remember where. I think it was in one of the things I was reading today, in one of the trades, and that was that ABC doesn't have to let Kimmel go, because what they can do is specifically move him to either Hulu or Disney Plus, and get him out of the way of broadcast television, and that they don't need him. Okay, they don't need that. So there's an answer there, but I don't know that Kimmel. No, you're right. Kimmel has indicated a few years back that really he was only going to stick around for a couple of more years. So as to whether he wants to do it for another couple of years or not is really totally up to him. But what they're doing to him, I would just tell the network to go screw themselves. And but that's horrible. And then you got
They have to pay him anyway.
What?
I hope they have to pay Kimmel anyway for the rest of his contract.
Who knows? There may be some kind of clause in there if there's who knows? Okay, it depends on how the contracts are written.
The New York Times quotes Iger as wanting to bring him back yesterday, a day ago. I'm not reading the story. I'm just reading the headline thing.
Yeah, well, I haven't read that.
Okay, it's no problem.
And if Iger was going to, don't you think he should say something about it?
Well,
Yeah,
I think he has. It's all over my thing here. Fox News. Bob Iger pulled the plug on Kimmel. They want to blame Iger, not Trump.
Yeah.
I don't want to read the stories. I want to visit on the show here, but people can look it up when they want.
Bottom line is the hypocrisy is overflowing in all frickin' areas. It's ridiculous.
Republicans screaming about cancer culture for years, and they're trying to cancel Kimmel.
What about Pocahontas? You call them Pocahontas. Isn't that against the law there? Let's start there.
These guys, these night people that talk like Kimmel and stuff, they joke about every president. They joked about Biden. They joked about Clinton. And none of these people ever took revenge.
Obama used to laugh at it.
Well, they realized that was part of the part of the job was to put up with these people making jokes about you, and quite frankly, they enjoyed having jokes made about them. Yeah. Okay, this is a guy who doesn't like to have jokes made about him. All you have to do is go back, if you want a good example, to the Correspondents' Dinner where Obama went after Trump. He couldn't take it. He did not look like he was happy, and that was the moment he decided to run for president, because he was going to get even with Obama, which so far he hasn't done a very good job of. But then again, he hasn't done a good job of being president either.
After he spent years slandering Obama about the birther thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that hate speech? Okay.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think that hate speech should be allowed. That if you have freedom of speech, you have freedom of speech. It's an absolute.
I
Well, you
mean,
say not anymore.
Supreme
No, it's
Court
okay for
decision.
the president to do it. It's okay for the vice president to do it. It's okay for a lot of different people to do it, but it's just not okay for the Democrats to do it. Or the
Right.
people who are liberal who want to go after Trump. Hate speech is anything you want to say against Trump. Doesn't that make this a dictatorship?
Yep.
You know?
It is.
Next thing, people be falling out of windows.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Going to jail for sure.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's really sad. You know. And then we got Charlie Kirk. I mean, what is with the deal with Charlie Kirk? Okay, am I right or wrong about this? Or was he just a douchebag? And I'm going to say
Totally.
it. Hey,
Yeah,
by
he
the
was a
way,
douchebag.
excuse me, I just got a note from Gabnet. They're canceling this show because of what I just said. So,
Yeah.
how dare you call Charlie Kirk a douchebag? I'll call him a douchebag. He said things that made life miserable for other people.
Yep.
And that's being bad. Okay? That's not being a nice human being. And then everybody goes, oh, he's a big hero. What? Of what? The fact that he had a podcast?
I tried to understand what the big deal was with the guy, and I watched his quote unquote debate session down in San Diego. It was on YouTube, and how he works his little thing. It was actually just before the one that he got taken out in Utah, and he has people line up to debate him. And in between that, he's throwing MAGA hats out and signing shit.
Yeah.
And he sits up there like a condescending prick and waits for people to come up and debate him. And you got these kids that, you know, they're in college, they're just catching on to things. And some of the things that they're asking or trying to debate him on are just pretty ridiculous. But there was a couple of good ones there, and they had him going. And when he gets put into a corner, just like his idol, he goes, okay, get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, really? He did
As
do
soon
that.
as he gets him into a corner, as soon as they get Charlie Kirk into a corner, he says, you don't know the word of God. Why don't you get out of here? Move him out. Get him out. Give him a hat. See you later. Next. And the next guy comes up.
Don't know the word of God?
Every other answer is the Bible says.
He
I mean, you
debated.
can believe what you want, but
He debated.
it's ridiculous the way he was mixing it into politics. It's just hardcore 80-20
Right.
politics and religion.
Kid that shot him, he debated that kid a few weeks or a few months earlier or something like that.
I didn't
Yeah,
hear
maybe
that.
it was one of the ones I saw in San Diego. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's the way he was handling himself. I just looked at him as a mini Trump. Except he was a little bit better at debating than Trump was.
But now, what's been happening here is, you know, this douchebag, and I believe him to be a douchebag, you know, this douchebag is being idolized to where you can't make jokes about him, okay? You can't, you can't say, hey, I disagreed with the guy. What are we doing putting the flags at half-mast? You know? And I disagree with the guy because I think his opinions were not humanistic. They made it rougher for other people to exist, okay? And how dare he have the right to be a judge over other human beings?
And that's exactly how he acted. Condescending as shit.
Yeah. Yes, Ray.
Well, there are two things that I heard him say that really bothered me. One is he thought that Joe Biden should be executed. I heard him say it.
Did he say that? That isn't
Yep.
hate speech, by the way, folks.
You can go.
Right.
You can go listen to it. He says it. And the other is what's the other? Shit. I forgot the other one. Never mind. I'll think of it in a second.
Yeah, I had a whole page of this stuff here, but I threw it in the garbage, you know.
Yeah.
But he, you know, I mean, he was just, you know, so this is what we're supposed to bend down and, you know, kneel at the throne of?
Oh, I know what the second one was. That he said that it's acceptable that people are killed in order for us to keep the Second Amendment.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, just think about how people with children who have been killed in shootings or with handguns or whatever feel about that.
Well, now the question I would want to ask is, what are we willing to do to preserve this democracy? I mean, it could come to something pretty terrible. Are you willing to do things which would fight back
against our army and all? Good luck.
Well, if there are more of us than there are them. Okay? And if you're going to preserve your democracy, it ain't going to be preserved by you just sitting there with your finger up your ass.
Well, it would require portions of our military to go on our side.
Well, that has been known to happen too.
Yeah.
Who did we lose here?
Charlie.
He just wrote to me and he says his computer just crashed. He's waiting for it to reboot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine crashed earlier too. I wonder if it's a new Zoom.
No, I don't think so. Is there a new Zoom?
Okay. I don't know. I was just wondering.
I think there's a new Zoom every week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well,
yeah. But so I mean, I don't like the idea that people can get fired over this. I mean, come on, you're allowed to have an opinion yet? Are you raising your hand there, Mark? Yes.
Just a couple of thoughts. Look, I'll defend anyone's right for free speech, including him.
Mm-hmm.
However, Cravat, they now have a martyr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone here remember a Twilight Zone episode with a very young Dennis Hopper?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Plays a neo-Nazi and he has a fan. You see him in the shadows giving him advice.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out to be the ghost of Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, there's parts of that this is like, oh my God, this is too weird. It's like art imitating life almost.
So is it possible that Trump's putting out all this drama to get people off of the Epstein thing?
No.
Absolutely, it is.
Well, I think that he's using it.
It's all it is another shiny object to go look.
Absolutely.
Oh, look over there.
It's funny
and then he's
though.
Do another
It's
one. Look
funny
over there.
though.
Get so many of them.
He immediately goes to England to get away from the Epstein thing, and now they're shining photographs of he and Epstein on Windsor Castle where he's sleeping every night.
Oh, they have it at bus stops too.
They got to remind him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you see, I mean, we should do more of that. We don't do enough of that.
The British and the French are great at that. They don't let their politicians get away with anything.
Listen, I don't know what I'm going to do once what do you call it? The National Guard comes into New York City. I plan to be out there, protesting it and throwing stuff and whatever it takes. It's just I'm too old for that stuff, but I'll do it anyway. Be out there with my cane, and I'll be, doing what it's got to take to say.
Your George Soros cane?
Huh?
Your George Soros funded cane?
Yeah.
Pickup truck drives along the corner and drops them all off for everybody?
Yeah.
And they got the big shiny hammers so they can break pieces of concrete off of the curb.
Wow.
They're big, beautiful, shiny hammers.
Really?
So that they can break off the curb and throw it at people.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. But I mean,
Soros.
I just think we gotta take we gotta kind of. Oh, here comes Bree. I guess we have to guess where he's eating tonight.
Shit.
Yeah, shit.
What really surprised me was Ted Cruz has really been speaking out against the firing of Kimmel.
Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
I don't think he's speaking out about the firing of Kimmel. He's speaking about basics free speech is what he's speaking out about.
Yeah, but it happened right when this happened.
Well, obviously,
and by the way,
that's the whole premise of the whole thing in a nutshell is the fact that he's interfering with free speech.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that he is
Yeah, I agree.
having that opinion publicly.
Yeah, the problem is, however, that the interesting thing is, however, that one of the biggest rancorous people against Ted Cruz was Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
I mean, Kimmel was he was going after him big time, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm not surprised by that. It's just somebody living up to their principles. Daniel.
Did you see Jon Stewart acting like Trump was like the North Korean leader and doing his broadcast? It was complete satire.
Yeah, I felt it was a little. I didn't like it that much. What I liked last night.
It wasn't that funny, but it was.
If you go back
idea.
and you watch, who is it? If you watch Colbert from Thursday night.
Yeah.
They have a version of Be My Guest as a tribute to Disney and what they did about taking him off, and it's called Shut Your Mouth, Shut Your Mouth. Yeah, it's very fun.
See that?
Yeah.
Charlie's back. Charlie's back.
Charlie's back, and Bree is eating.
No, well, my desktop's not back.
Your desktop's not back? Oh, is
So
that
you're
the
on the
one
laptop
is that
now.
the one that you got from Alan?
Yeah, so I have that.
Yeah.
No, he's on the one that he got from Alan right now.
Yeah, my desktop's the one that
No.
crashed, and it
Right.
still hadn't gone away from that blue screen of death yet.
Yep.
Well, what do you have, a PC?
I have a Dell.
Yeah.
The only computers I've ever had this blue screen of death with are Dell computers. This is the second one, and the other one had the same thing happen.
Unfortunately, the laptop that I gave Charlie is also a Dell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but I've never gotten the blue screen of death on this one yet.
the point that I'm making is that the desktop that you have is easy to replace parts in. So you might just figure out what's wrong with it and change the part out. You know, it's pretty simple.
How do you figure out what's wrong with it?
Well, it's usually the memory, the RAM with the blue. If
But
you get a lot of,
it also could be the video card, and on that laptop,
It's
I
just-
think it's.
Well,
built
now that we
into
replaced the
motherboard.
video card and we replaced the memory, I guess we have nothing else to replace.
yeah.
Just
Well, I got to get a new computer anyway because that won't do Windows 11. So I was going to get a new one anyway.
and neither will the new one. Let me ask you something, Charlie, and I want to be delicate about this.
Yeah.
But I seem to get the indication by your posts and so on social media that you are no longer with girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That happened.
After you almost broke your back fixing something for her?
I think that's what started it because I did that falling off a ladder trying to hang a picture that she wanted to hang over a window. She had me doing all of these honeydew things all summer. And of course, for a week, I couldn't do any.
I like what you call it, honeydew things.
Yeah. And so I said, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then she knows I like football. And the Cowboys were playing on Sunday. And so
okay.
she got all upset that I wanted to watch the Cowboys. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, right there. I draw the line with that.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
it.
called her out.
Totally,
She accused me
like,
of not of always putting my needs and wants ahead of hers.
Oh God.
I go, how is that true? I
Look,
fell off a fucking ladder for you.
If Jesus calls during the game and says you got a minute to talk, the answer is no.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so
I got voicemail for that
itemized
shit.
all these things I had done for her that wasn't anything I necessarily wanted to do. And one of them is dozens of times I've driven a grandson to and from work at 2:00 in the morning. I've
Jesus.
done that, and that's not something I would have done on my own. and her answer to that was, "Don't ever contact me again."
Wow.
What?
Wow.
That's what she said.
Wait a minute, because what do you say? You weren't going to do it once or something?
No, I said I wasn't going to do it Sunday. I was going to have to wait until Tuesday.
Because you watch the football game.
Because this football game's live on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know,
my
something.
God.
I don't see a
Look,
thing wrong with
look,
it, Charlie. You're fine.
Marjorie loves tennis. Okay?
Yep.
When the tennis tournaments are on, I don't exist. Okay? And my control over the television set is minimal. Sometimes you'll go in the living room to watch it.
Yeah.
I put up with it,
Yeah.
you know?
That's why I have 2 TVs, one in the living room, one in the bedroom, so that we could each watch whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, but
Well, at least your laptop has Windows 11. Windows 10 is no longer supported.
yeah. Well,
That
this
doesn't
saved
matter.
me
I'm
tonight. It
keeping
still
this-
hasn't. It's still 20% complete. It's still with the blue screen there.
I'm keeping this PC until it burns out. Okay? Screw PCs. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm very, you know, if it'll still work, you know, just it won't update to anything more, you know. Won't get any more powerful than it was.
It's funny, the computer that's crashed for him, he's had for a while, and it's not powerful enough to handle Windows 11.
Well, no computer should crash.
No.
Okay.
I've never had it happen before. I've had HPs, I've had Lenovo's, I've had Asus. None of them ever crashed or gave me the blue
I gotta
screen.
tell you, this Mac I have here, has it ever crashed on me? I think it maybe
Macs rarely crash.
maybe it crashed once. But, you know, I've got it maxed out on memory and a lot of other things, so there's no reason for that to happen.
Well,
You
the
know.
Windows 11 computer that he's using right now was a really, really good deal, including free shipping. So,
I built my computer years ago, and it runs. Well, I'm starting to get the blue screen of death once in a while, but overall, this thing
I
runs
think
great.
the
When you
newest
build your
ver-
own, you can get all the best parts.
The newest
Yeah.
version of PCs, of the PC iOS or whatever, is only, I think it doesn't go to blue screen ever. I think they did away with the blue screen of death. So it's now just the daggers of death that come out of the screen and kill you. You know.
There
But
must be some kind of screen of death.
no, there's no screen of death anymore.
Oh, it just crashes.
It just crashes, I'm sure. You know.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know.
I have a really old Mac, and I think it's crashed on me twice.
Really?
Like and it's probably like 12, 15 years old.
Okay.
I mean, I think Macs are just way more stable overall.
I think
operating system.
Macs are very stable. They're very
Yeah.
stable. PCs, I find, have always crashed on me. You know,
Oh, yeah.
They always have certain operating problems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I use one here for small usage and not important things. All the music and spots that I play are on that machine. Okay?
yeah.
But other than that, I don't use
One
it.
of my favorite oxymorons, Microsoft Works.
Mark, you use Macs, right?
Yeah, since the Apple II days, yes.
Really,
Ooh.
that far back, huh?
And but I've also built PCs. But if I would like to build a PC again. You know, we explained that the last couple of times. But if I have to run Windows, I can run it on emulation on my Mac. There's emulation software that will do that, and I'm fine with that. You know.
Well, I finally went out and bought a Mac when I found out that I could run my PC programs on the Mac.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, that's
found
what
out I never really had to. So, but once I could do that, and it took certain special programs to be able to do it, but that's when I went over to the Mac and never went back. I'm sorry. For what I do, it's the best thing you can have.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're entering a really bad time, I think. I think this whole Trump thing has just gone a little too far. And I think enough with it, I'm not laughing at it anymore. I'm not making fun of it. And I miss, do I have?
How long we got until midterms?
November, no, it's next month.
14 months.
14 months.
Why do my lips look so red?
He's only been president for 6 months or something like that?
8.
Yeah.
8 months?
8 months.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Months now, yeah, because he's January and this is September.
God.
Just think of all the havoc he's caused in 8 months.
Oh,
It's a lot.
Jesus.
It's a lot. He caused a lot of problems.
Even,
Worldwide.
He's pissed off all our allies.
even if a Democrat, and hopefully one will win in 2028, they're going to probably have 2 terms of trying to fix all the problems he's done to the country.
I don't think the Democrats are going to, at the rate they're going, are going to get
I don't think
elected.
So either. I don't think they're going to get elected. I think the midterms are still going to.
They're trying to blow it.
Yep, they're doing a good job blowing it. They can't seem to get one foot in front of the other.
Are my lips red?
I mean,
There's
Josh
all kinds of
called out what the problem
gerrymandering.
is.
Your lips look fine, Alex.
Yeah, they don't look all that red to me.
I don't know what it is.
That's a
but I think-
professional opinion.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. I can turn that down. Let me turn it down. Here we go. Okay, there we go.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not as bad as it was.
Your picture looks better now, too.
Really?
Yeah. You don't look as red.
Okay. I try to look healthy.
Oh, you look healthy. You look fine.
It's amazing I look healthy because I've been so out of it for the last couple of days. And every time I'd stop taking the aspirin, the temperature would go flying up. But I think it's settled down, but, who knows? But
Have you seen a doctor?
What?
Have you seen a doctor?
No. No.
I mean, this could be a virus, but it could be something else.
No, it could very easily be the vaccination.
Yeah,
you
it
got
could be a
vaccine-
bad reaction.
Because one of the side effects of a COVID vaccination
Of any vaccine.
is a high temperature.
Of
Yeah.
any vaccine. That's right.
I had the COVID and flu shots 2 weeks ago, and no problem at all.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
mine on
but
Monday, and no
it's
problem.
the individual,
Yeah.
I've been pretty. Last year I had problems with them, but you know what happened last year? I consider CVS to be amateurs. Okay, here's what happened last year. You're gonna love this, Mark. I go in and I get the COVID, but I also get my flu shot, but I also get my RSV shot
Oh, you
all
get
at
flu.
once.
Ooh.
Oh, did I feel crappy for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up. It is not recommended that they give the RSV at the same time they give the COVID.
No.
You should have 2 weeks between the two. And the people at CVS didn't know this.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? What a dipshit outfit that is.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so. But I'm just so disappointed in this country, and I'm disappointed in the way it's going. And it's not your fault, but it's our fault if we don't do something about it. And part of it is not just activism and getting people to get out the vote and so on and so forth. I think a little amount of threat to the government would do some good, because the only thing this government ever understood, and correct me if I'm wrong, has been violence or the threat of it.
Yep.
Sure.
You know, the reason a lot of blacks made advances back in the 50s and 60s was because the whites in this country felt threatened by them. So they started acquiescing to their needs.
Yep.
The fact is, this country only knows violence as an answer.
Yep.
And I don't want to do an act of violence. I'm not a violent person.
I didn't like what Charlie Kirk said. I didn't like his whole attitude. He did not deserve to be shot.
Oh,
I agree.
Between you and me,
Yeah.
he was asking for it.
Oh, yeah, I could see how people would want to do it, but
No,
I don't. I don't think he deserved to be shot and killed.
He was asking for it. And to say he doesn't deserve to be shot and killed, I mean, no, he probably didn't, but nevertheless, who gives a crap? You know? Oh, excuse me, I've just been canceled by Gabnet again.
I have no more. I mean, I have way more empathy for the people who were killed the same day, like just going to school.
And they don't bring that up in the news.
Was there a school that
they
day?
didn't fly any
There was a
flags at
school
half
shooting a
mast.
couple hours later.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a funny story. You'll enjoy this, especially you guys out in California, of which we only have two tonight. Sacramento, California, this just in. What? What are you giving me?
We have three people
There's-
from
there's
California.
Oh, three
of us in
people from
California.
California. Okay. This just in. Somebody drove past an ABC television station in Sacramento and sent a volley of bullets through the windows.
Channel
Here
10.
you go. Just like you said.
Yeah.
Violence
Oh, wait a minute. Let me finish.
brings violence.
The police have said they don't know the motivation. Don't know the motivation? Take a guess. Take a guess. Why would somebody shoot bullets through the windows of an ABC station at this point? So, hey, it's only glass, okay? But we're going to find these people. We're going to apprehend them, and then we're going to find out the reason why they did it. Yeah, I mean, it's just bullshit. I give up. How about you, Josh? You haven't said anything tonight.
Well, I mean, firing someone or some other severe consequence like a suspension for something that they said or wrote, whatever, really for the last 10 years, that sort of behavior is, what the Trump party called woke,
Yep.
I mean, not just the cancel culture thing, but, they were blaming that rise on wokeness, so I'm not really sure how that applies, doesn't apply now, other than, because that's how they operate, it doesn't work in their favor. I don't, and, I honestly, as I mean, I kind of agreed with them on, their sentiment there. Now, not maybe the way they apply it or whatever, but, I was never in favor of any of that stuff, really. I mean, maybe there's a line somewhere, and that stuff is case by case, right? But the Fox guy who made like the homeless people comment or whatever, I don't think he should be fired or maybe suspended or whatever. I mean, to me, the consequence of that should be whatever, not what the government determines, but what like the market determines, right? So if Fox News were to want to fire him for that, that would be their choice, right? Because they have to weigh, did it offend their viewers? Would it cost them viewership, therefore revenue? Right? You know what I'm saying? The market is determining that consequence based on what the consumers want or the citizenry. The government is not in that business and shouldn't be. And certainly not the head of the government, right? Unilaterally. So I don't understand, their argument there. It really is against their so-called, standards or principles. Just as, the FCC, for example, is, kind of what's missed in this is it's a regulatory agency, right? It is to regulate, okay? And Republicans have said for years, and now the Trump party, I don't call them Republicans anymore, the Trump party now overtly cries every day that these regulatory agencies only have the power, which the Supreme Court has backed up now recently as well, only has the power to enforce the regulations that Congress has laid out by statute. They no longer really have the power to determine what they think regulation should be. That's how they're dismantling the EPA, for example.
Yeah.
They have said that the EPA is basically just making up rules as it sees fit based on some, loose interpretation of some statutes, and the Supreme Court has curtailed that and a few other things. Again, I can almost kind of agree with a lot of that, but my point is the FCC is a regulatory agency to pressure ABC, CBS, anybody for anything like this, especially at the direction of the president, is ridiculous because they have no statutory power to regulate such a thing. And they clearly have no power. There is no power in the federal government anywhere, really, to regulate any kind of speech of any kind, other than speech that leads to that, as a direct result of that speech, leads to a crime, right? Or,
Well,
you direct people to do violence and they do it. That's, prohibited. So,
Like
they just
January
abandon the
6th.
principles when the convenience strikes them.
Yep.
Well, to begin with,
abandon
What I mean
their
by the
principles.
hypocrisy is overflowing. Exactly what I mean.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
the
right.
FCC, when I was coming up in this business, the only thing they did, the only reason they came into being in the first place was when, in the early days of broadcasting back in the 20s, they started having radio signals. And somebody would have a radio signal, and it was a good, juicy one, and somebody else would want to get on that frequency. They would then up their power and blast that one out.
Yeah.
And there was wait a minute, let me finish. There was that kind of thing going on. And so the FCC came into being to regulate
That's
the
all I was gonna say,
frequencies. Yeah, and the power and the equipment they used, and that it was in good shape. Right. And once in a while, somebody would write in and say, "Hey, I heard the word fuck on the air," and the FCC would go, "Okay, good for you, and hope you enjoyed it."
Right, which
But
is a regulation. Right.
But outside of that, they never dictated what was right, what was wrong. In fact, we have a protection in this country of unpopular speech.
Yeah.
The kind of speech we're talking about when we talk about free speech, we don't talk about freedom of popular speech. Everybody's going to agree to that. We're talking about freedom of unpopular speech, which you have to defend anyway, even if you don't agree with it. And so that's that's the basis of this democracy. What else was it based on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the Democratic argument really should be that, the FCC is a regulatory agency. No one has the power in this country to regulate speech, certainly not the FCC, certainly not the President of the United States. The Supreme Court has historically agreed, has most recently agreed that regulatory agencies do not have the power to make up regulations. They must be statutory by Congress. And, this is undue political pressure by a small man who is unable to withstand the same rigors of office being made fun of as past presidents.
What about Brendan Carr? I mean, this guy has no idea, as the head of the Federal Communications Commission, what its job is.
Yeah.
Go check people's meters, check the power on your local TV station, do whatever you got to do that way, and leave opinion on the air alone. And who gets licenses and doesn't get licenses as to who the president says should get those licenses.
Right, and ABC, Disney, the parent company, whoever, their reaction should have been to do nothing.
Oh, their reaction.
And if you want to pull our license, go ahead, and we will see you in court.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, and we will spend the $20 million that it takes over the next 2.5 years to prove to you that we will win and you will lose, and we will settle this issue once and for all. And it'll be the money well spent.
Yep. Yes, Alan.
On ABC and Disney, the stock market reached all-time highs today. Disney stock is dropping like a rock. Warren Buffett weighed in. It just came across my business thing on my phone. Warren Buffett weighed in, said they deserve this for canceling the guy. I can't think of the guy's name, but the talk show host.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Thank you. I just shut the phone. But for canceling, and somebody asked Buffett, would you buy Disney stock at this point? He says, I would never own Disney stock.
Right.
He says that was one of my favorite shows to watch, and they deserve their stock to take a hit.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, Jimmy Kimmel could have been in the worst bad taste possible. The only thing was, he wasn't. He wasn't. He didn't say anything that was terrible. He certainly didn't assail Charlie Kirk, which he really probably was itching to do, but he couldn't. And
right, but they should just. I mean, but the Democratic Party would have an opportunity to remind people of these things and how they actually violate the principles of the Republican Party and of Trump's party, and that these same regulations can be turned around and used against others in the future if this is going to be the case, because these same protections are what allow me or you or anybody else to call another person a despicable name. But those are the prices paid for the ability of people to think freely, to write freely, for our press to cover our government, and for us to have professors who write papers and people who do research, and for your child to dress the way they want to dress under the freedom of expression, and for you to
before we
put a sign in your yard.
Before we go, let me read you something I put up on my Facebook page, and it bears reading again. It's from Pastor Howard John Wesley of the Alfred Street Baptist Church. I don't know where that is exactly, but it was so brilliantly stated, I had to put it up there. It said, there's nowhere in the Bible where we're taught to honor evil, and how you die does not redeem how you lived. You don't become a hero in death when you are a weapon of the enemy in life. Very well put. That's it, plain and simple. And it's too bad.
So are they? Are they going to take away his tax-exempt status for his church now? I mean,
Trump will try.
I mean, these are the things that need to be weighed by the American public, and they could be communicated in relatable ways by the Democratic Party if they were to so choose.
Well, I got news for you. How long, when a bully starts beating you up every day, how long are you going to take it? Before you finally blow.
Yeah, right.
And I think if the American public suddenly seemed like they were dangerous.
Well, individual issues in recent polling, has him on the wrong side by double digits. On many of these issues, the question just will remain, are Democrats able to make those issues stick in the minds of people during midterm elections, or are they not able to communicate,
Yep.
People don't agree with many of these ideas.
Well, thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I'm, I've been out for 2 days, and tonight I didn't know whether I was going to come in here and do it, but I did it, and I felt pretty peppy and zippy, I think, and you helped make me that way, and I thank you for doing it. Thanks to Alan for being here this evening, Alan. I appreciate it. Josh, thanks to you as well. Kevin, You know, it's always great to have you. Mark, what can I say? Number one, your furniture is lovely. And
Where's Morticia?
where did you get that picture from?
I just found it on Google. I just searched.
Serge, give me a good background for my
Green screen. Yeah.
Ray Renati, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Bree, we haven't heard a word from you.
Yeah, next time.
Okay, you could jump in anytime you wanted to, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You know.
I was eating breakfast.
Yeah, well, maybe sometime we can catch you when you're not eating breakfast.
Yeah, I'm in Colorado.
Where are you?
Colorado.
Where?
Thailand.
Thailand.
Oh, Thailand. Oh,
Thailand.
okay. All right. I couldn't understand.
But the not regular.
Yeah. Anyway, I see. Okay. All right. Cut your mic. Cut your mic. We got too much noise. Charlie Wallace, thank you for being here tonight. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye. Okay, I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. There they go, folks. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Oh, I'm going to sneeze any second now. Oh, boy. So let me sign off any moment here as soon as I can tell you that there's no Amy Emanuel tonight, but I'll see you on Monday for the pop-up show, and then next Wednesday for our, whatever this show is, the Ramble. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, of course, tell her I love her, okay? All right, bye-bye, everybody.